done this lesson before, last night's homework, and next year I'm gonna switch them around. I was trying to follow some of the stuff online. I'm sure you guys have heard about the modules and the curriculum and all of that. But I would have done it in a different order because this would have helped you last night for sure. Solving problems with percents of a quantity, which is what you did last night, what you're going to do tonight. Essentially, there are 4 parts to every problem. You're going to know 3 of them, and you're going to have to figure out the 4th. All right? This part right here is always going to be 100. So right there, there's one part you don't have to worry about. Always going to be 100. So here's the other 3 that you're going to have to get from the problem, but 1 is going to be missing. In other words, they're going to tell you 2 out of the 3 somehow in the problem. You might have to think about it. You might have to subtract or add or something to get it, but somehow they're going to give you 2 out of 3 of those, and then you're going to do the math to find the 4th. Okay? That's really all these are. So my recommendation, and actually it's more than recommendation, I want you to do it this way, is you're going to set up a ratio that looks like this. Part over whole equals percent over 100. All right? Right now, we're going to use what we know about equivalent fractions, division, all of that to solve it. Later on in the year, I'm going to teach you something called cross-multiplying, which some of your parents might talk about, or older kids. We are missing one piece. There's one thing I need to teach you before we can cross-multiply. But you shouldn't need to right now on these problems. It'll be later. But you will learn, because Mrs. Moore wants you to know how to cross-multiply before you get to 7th grade. So at some point, we will cross-multiply. In the meantime, you're going to use what you know about equivalent fractions to solve for this. Okay? Basically, you're going to set it up. You're going to fill in 3 out of 4 parts. You're always going to fill in the 100. Always. Because that's something that you just know. All percents are out of 100. Then you're going to fill in the other 2 pieces that they tell you in the correct spots. And then you're going to use either a question mark or, my preference, a variable, which unless they give you, you should just use X. X is kind of like the go-to variable, to identify the unknown piece. That means the one that you have to figure out. And then you're going to solve for that one piece. Okay? So let's do, like, in one example, and I want you to kind of write this on the side. If I said, what is 50%, that's too easy because you'll want to do that in your head. What is 45% of 110? I'm not even sure that we might have to do some of 110. Okay? As an example. First thing you're going to do is you're going to set up a 110. What is 45% of 110? You're going to start right out with setting up the problem. 2 fraction lines, equal sign. And then you're going to immediately put in the 100. Okay? Because you know that, right? Without even thinking. So you're going to set that right up. Now you're going to go to your problem and say, okay, what is the 45? What is the 45? It is the percent. So the 45 always goes here because the percent always goes over 100. What is the 110? Is it the part or the whole? No, it's the whole because we want to know what part of 110 is 45. So the whole is 110. So that means we're solving for the part. So that's where our X is going to go. Okay? In the younger grades, you'd have a question mark or a blank box or something to identify the whole that you're missing. Basically, we're going to turn it into variables now. That just stands for the number we don't know that we're trying to figure out. Okay? Now, We use what we know about equivalent fractions. This was not the best choice. Oh well. Can we go right from 100 to 110? Oh, we can do this. I can do it. We can do this. Is there something you can multiply times 100 to get to 110? Not right off the top of your head, right? So let's reduce. Let's divide them both by 5 to reduce. So it gives us 9 over 20. Yeah, 9 over 20. Can we divide? This was not the best choice. All right, let's make one little quick change. Let's change this to 120. Okay, so it's 45% of 120, just for simple math purposes. Yes, you could do this. You'd have to pull out a calculator, do the dividing, yada, yada, yada. You could do it. But let's make it for simple math for right now. We're going to change it. So it's 45% of 120. So what times, or how do we get from 20 to 120? Times 6, right? So 9 times 6 is what goes there, which is 54. So your part, 45% of 120 is 54. Now, does that seem about right? Because think about it. 45, that's about half, right? And half of 120 would be 60. So isn't that just a little bit less than half? Yeah. So it's in the ballpark. All right. So that's what you're doing. Let me kind of zip through really quick. We've got everybody back? Almost. The problem is going to give you, there's 3 parts to every ratio. Or every ratio, well, technically 4 parts. You never have to worry about the 100%, because you always know the percent is under 100. Over 100, excuse me. The problem is going to tell you the whole, the part, and the percent. They're going to give you 2 out of 3 of those. And then you're going to have to find the third one, the one that's missing. So you're going to start with the ratio of part over whole equals percent over 100. You're going to plug in what you know and put an X for the one you don't know, and then you're going to solve. And like I said, eventually you'll use cross-multiplying, but if you have someone helping you at home, if they say something about cross-multiplying, you need to say, hang on, we're not ready for that yet. We will learn it before the end of the year, but I need to do it this other way for right now. Okay? So let's take a look at the second page. This page is going to be the ultimate resource page for you. Okay, you guys are going to have to copy someone's front page at some point. Page 2. This is the ultimate resource page. At the top of this page is the equation. The equation. Part over whole equals percent over 100. Okay, this is something that you should copy. You're going to have to commit to memory, because they're not going to give you this. You have to memorize this. Okay? Every one of these 3 that we have on the board, all 3 of them, have different pieces missing. So these are going to each be an example of how to solve for that piece. In other words, when we figure out what this is, let's say this is solved for the percent, which it's not, but let's say it was. Then if you had a problem where you had to solve for the percent, you just look here. Oh, that's how I do it. Okay, let's take a look. This first one, I want you to tell me what we're solving for. Are we solving for the part, the percent, or the whole? 60% of 300 is what? What is this what? Hands up. What is that what? What is it, Ethan? The part. Because the percent is the percent, and usually that's going to be pretty obvious. It's either going to have a percent sign or it's going to say percent. Although it could say something like 50 out of 100, which is then 50%. So you might have to figure it out a little bit. The 300 is your whole. All right, so let's start with our equation. Remember what I said. Set it right up, just like that. Put the 100 where it goes. And then say, all right, well, 60 is my percent, so that always goes over 100. The 300 is the whole, so that's going to go down here. And we're solving for the part, so I'm going to put an X where the part is. And now we're going to solve. Can you go, in this case, we can go right from 100 to 300, right? Times 3. So 60 times 3 is 180. So 60% of 300 is 180. It's not 180%. You already have the percent. The only time you use a percent in the answer is the time that you're finding the percent. We're finding the part. And think about this. Does it make sense? 60% is a little bit more than half. Half of 300 would be 150. So isn't that a little bit more than half? Yeah. So it's probably in the ballpark. Okay, if I'd written 18, would that have made sense? No, not at all. So we'd have to go back. All right, second one. I know we're kind of hurrying. We got to get at least this page done so you can do your, just so as a refresher, so you can do your homework. Like I was telling them before you guys came back, we're going to finish these notes, and we're going to, hang on. I don't know what I was saying. Oh, well, sorry about the interruption. Yes, I'm going to put this online, by the way. Interruptions at all. Oh, yes. We're going to finish this page tomorrow. We're going to go over, there's a chart on the next page. We're going to work out together. That takes some time. We're going to go over both homeworks, last night's and tonight's. So if you understand, this is a lot of what you did last night. If you understand it better, you may want to go back and just tweak last night's homework too, maybe. Anyway, very quickly, solve for the what? 60% of blank equals 30. What are we missing here, Olivia? 300. Yes, sorry. What am I missing? Well, it's not the percent. Cassie? We're missing the whole. Yep. Because 60% of whatever equals 300. That's your part. So, again, set her up. The 60 goes over the 100 again. This time, the 300 goes on the top because it's the part, and the X goes on the bottom because that's the whole. We don't know the whole this time. How could we go from 60 to 300? Times, okay, I should be able to do, thank you, times 5, right? That should be a no-brainer. 100 times 5 is 500. So 60% of 500 is 300. Again, 60% is more than half. Half would be 250. So we're looking like we're in the ballpark. And the third one. And don't just think of it because we haven't done this one yet. But look, what are we missing? There's no percent sign. There's no percent. Remember, it may not always have the sign. It might say the word percent. So setting up our equation. This time we don't know the percent, so the X is going to go in the percent spot. And if you don't remember, look at the chart at the top of the page. 60 out of 300. The 60 is the part, and the 300 is the whole. Okay? Now we've got to go this way this time. 300, what am I going to do to 300 to get 100? Divide by 3. So this is divide by 3, which ends up being 20. So 60, what is it, 20 what? Thank you, 20%. This time we need the percent sign because that's what we were looking for, was the percent. Okay? Yeah. No, we're going to do it tomorrow. Yep, just hang on to it. Just hang on to it for right now because I'm going to pass out the other one in a minute. So just, you still have to hand that in. Just hang on. Take a look at this page, the whole page. Just hang on. Just breathe. The whole page. This is your ultimate reference sheet, your ultimate cheat sheet, as you will. I mean, obviously, you're not going to literally cheat, but this is your ultimate sheet. Tonight's homework. If you're going to solve for the part, you're going to kind of do it like this, right? You're going to do it with this, that process. Yeah, if you're going to solve for the whole, you're going to use that process. And if you're going to solve for the percent, you're going to use the process on the bottom.